Welcome back to Rod's Menagerie. Today, I thought I'd talk about the primary villain I used in the first campaign I created in my own game world about 4 or 5 years ago. And what I did is I took intelligent undead and how they're treated in the game. Like in this case, I used a vampire. And since they were not always a vampire, they had a life before. Why in the game system does the vampire not have the abilities of the profession, class, etc., that they were before becoming the vampire? They just now have a new vampire stat block. So what I did is in my campaign for my villains that were vampires or other intelligent undead, I actually incorporated abilities from other classes. And of course, this makes them more powerful than the CR they are listed in the book, but you have to tweak that for your party anyway. So I just tweaked them for that as well. So if I had a lower end vampire that would need to have a lower CR, I would still have their original profession as or class from when they were bitten and became a vampire. And then I would incorporate the abilities shown in the monster manual to that vampire. And so a lower level one might only have one or two of them, and then the higher end villains would have maybe all of them. But I would have to modify the stat block to accommodate whatever, the size of the party, the level of the players, etc. This is an example of one of the minor villains that I had used within my campaign. He's an 8th level Tabaxi rogue that had been bitten by the primary villain in the campaign. And so he has 8th level rogue abilities plus the vampire abilities. I believe, if I recall correctly, this was the first one that they had encountered to a minor level within the campaign. And I like the way the character played. I like the way that the NPC worked out and mirrored it for 3 others within the campaign. But it worked really well. Like one of the lower ones, instead of like maybe 3 legendary actions, I took it down to 1 or 2. And it's just examples like that where you can downplay as needed to, allow for the higher level abilities from the actual class that they were. Keep in mind as you do homebrew creations like this that you'll may not have it tweaked just right on the first few encounters, but you can make changes and make changes on the fly. Maybe you've underpowered it, maybe you've overpowered it, so during an encounter, I've actually had to have the hit point total, maybe add some hit points to it. I've actually had the villain forget an ability they've had that's just overpowering the party at their current level. And just changes on the fly like that make it more fun for the players. They don't just get steamrolled, or they don't steamroll the villain. It keeps it more challenging. And so the ability doesn't show back up. The player didn't necessarily know they could do it more than once in a day anyway. So that's just my way of handling my homebrew creations on the fly. And you really should be doing that for not just the homebrew stuff, but the ones in the manual as well, because the CR is kind of more of a guideline. And you just want to make sure that your players are having a good time. I actually took this line of thinking beyond vampires to other undead within my campaigns that made sense. Maybe mummies, ghosts, etc., that could have retained that do retain their intelligence, but could have retained their class and professions and skills from before the change. And so I thought it added an interesting twist and something that would surprise the players, the new and the old hats alike. But I hope you find this useful, and thank you for watching.